Hello, and welcome back to Storycraft Kids, where every single one of us is special. Today, we dive deep into the dazzling blue waters of the shimmering reef, a place full of color and coral. In this busy kingdom of the sea lived a little fish named Finn. Finn was, to put it simply, one of the tiniest fish in the entire reef. He was small enough to hide behind a single piece of sea lettuce and could swim through a wedding ring with room to spare. Finn's size made him shy, and all he ever wanted was to blend in with the schools of identical silver fish. He wanted to be a quiet blur, part of the ocean's silent, beautiful motion. But Finn had a secret, and it was a loud one. Despite his miniature fins and delicate scales, Finn possessed the biggest, loudest voice in the whole shimmering reef. When Finn cleared his throat, it sounded like a booming seaquake. When he sneezed, it felt like a tiny underwater explosion, rattling the clamshells nearby. And when he tried to say hello, it came out as a thunderous, water-shaking hello! This mighty voice was Finn's deepest source of shame. It didn't match his size, and it made him stick out when all he wanted was to disappear. One morning, Finn tried to join a quiet group of angelfish who were planning a secret scavenger hunt. "May I join you?" Finn whispered as softly as he could, muffling his mouth with his fin. The whisper still came out like a huge, echoing gong, shaking the delicate sea anemones. The angelfish jumped 10 feet straight up in surprise, scattering everywhere. "Oh, Finn, it's just you," sighed Coral, the leader, fanning herself with a fin. "You have to warn us. Your voice is enormous." Finn apologized, his powerful voice cracking with embarrassment, and he quickly swam away, feeling hurt and defeated. He retreated to a secluded, shadowy patch of purple kelp, feeling like a misfit. "Why can't I just be small and quiet?" he murmured to himself, the sound still reverberating slightly off the rocks. He saw the big, strong fish, the groupers, the jacks, and the snappers, who were all respected for their size and speed. They never had trouble fitting in. Their strengths were visible and obvious. Finn wished for a strength that was physical, something that wouldn't betray his shyness. Feeling glum, he swam past the ancient wise shell, Grandmother Shelley. Grandmother Shelley was known throughout the reef for her slow wisdom and deep knowledge. "Finn, little one," she rasped, her voice a gentle click against the current. "Why the troubled bubbles?" Finn explained his problem, ending with a huge echoing sigh that made Grandmother Shelley's shell rock. "They run away, Shelley. I scare them. I just want a strength that looks like me, small and gentle." Grandmother Shelley blinked her single, large eye slowly. "Strength, dear Finn, is not measured by the eye," she advised. "It is measured by its usefulness." "You cannot judge a tide by the size of the seashell that carries it." Finn frowned, completely confused by this cryptic advice. What good was a loud voice if it only scared everyone away? The next day, a serious problem hit the shimmering reef. The young minnows, known for being playful, had swam too far while chasing a shiny plastic bottle. They had accidentally drifted into the dark kelp forest, a vast, tangled maze of deep shadows and confusing currents. The dark kelp forest swallowed sound and light, making it incredibly easy to get lost. The parents were frantic, swimming nervously at the edge of the shadows. Elder Grotto, the largest and strongest grouper, stepped forward, flexing his immense pectoral fins. "Fear not," Grotto boomed, his voice naturally loud, but only as loud as a normal big fish. "I will swim in and find them. My size makes me brave." Grotto and several other muscular fish bravely swam into the dark, tangled entrance. They relied on their eyesight and swimming power to navigate the dense, shadowy stalks. After a few minutes, the strong fish realized they were hopelessly lost. The kelp was too thick, the light was gone, and the currents shifted every few moments. Grotto couldn't see his own fins, and he couldn't hear the other rescuers only 5 feet away. He tried to call out to the minnows, but his voice was immediately muffled and absorbed by the damp, shadowy kelp walls. The search party swam back out, exhausted and defeated. "We cannot see them, and we cannot call them," Grotto reported sadly to the worried crowd. "The kelp is too thick and too quiet." The reef fell into despair. The minnows were small and scared, and no one could reach them. Finn watched from his hiding spot behind a sea fan. He saw the tears of the minnow's mother and the heavy sorrow of the strong elder Grotto. A tiny nervous flutter started in Finn's belly. He knew what the forest needed. The forest needed something that didn't rely on light or sight. It needed a sound that could cut through the thick, muffling kelp. Finn knew his voice could do it, but the thought of using his terrible, loud voice terrified him. He imagined the reaction. Laughter. Scorn. "Look at the little fish who thinks he's a whale." He shook his head and tried to swim away, but the worried faces of the minnow families held him in place. He suddenly remembered Grandmother Shelley's words. "Strength is measured by its usefulness." His voice wasn't just loud, it was powerful. It created a vibration that traveled much further than anyone else's. This wasn't about blending in anymore. This was about using the one thing that made him different to save the day. Finn took a deep breath, filling his tiny lungs with as much water as they could hold. He faced the dark, foreboding entrance of the kelp forest. He decided to embrace the sound he hated, the sound that was truly him. He accepted his difference, and with that acceptance, the nervous flutter turned into a focused heat. Finn closed his eyes and opened his mouth, not trying to whisper, not trying to be quiet. He aimed the sound straight into the darkest part of the kelp. He didn't yell words. He let out one focused, deep, resonant tone. Ham! The sound was absolutely deafening, shaking the entire shimmering reef. Rocks trembled, sand lifted off the floor, and Grotto and the other groupers covered their ears with their fins in shock. But the sound didn't just echo. It vibrated through the water. The powerful wave of sound traveled deep, deep into the dark kelp forest. Inside the maze, the lost minnows huddled together, crying quietly. Then they felt the huge, comforting vibration of Finn's sound pulsing through the kelp walls. It was so strong that it couldn't be muffled. It was a beacon. "Do you hear that?" squeaked one minnow. "It sounds like the whole ocean is calling us." The vibration was so steady and strong that it acted like a sonic trail, leading them back. Finn maintained the powerful tone for nearly a full minute, until his tiny body was trembling with effort. And then, slowly, one by one, the lost minnows emerged from the kelp, following the unique vibration of Finn's mighty voice. The reef erupted in cheers. The parents rushed to hug their minnows, who were perfectly safe. Elder Grotto swam straight to Finn, no longer covering his ears, but looking at the tiny fish with awe. "Finn," Grotto said, shaking his massive head, "that was the most powerful thing I have ever felt. Your strength is not in your size. It is in your voice. It is exactly what the kelp forest needed." All the fish that had previously scattered from Finn's loud greetings now gathered around him. They weren't laughing. They were grateful. They were admiring the tiny hero with the booming ability. Finn finally understood Grandmother Shelley's wisdom. His voice was not an embarrassment. It was a gift, a unique ability that only he possessed. He had tried to fit in by silencing his strength, but he became a hero by accepting it. Finn the tiny fish stopped trying to be small and quiet. He started accepting that his outside size and his inside strength were wonderfully, dramatically different. He learned that being himself, with all the volume turned up, was the best thing he could possibly be. The greatest strength is the one that is uniquely yours, even if it makes you stand out from the crowd. The shimmering reef had learned that the tiniest vessel can carry the largest sound. Finn, the fish who once hated his voice, became the proud, booming guardian of the reef. Remember, friends, don't shrink your unique talents to fit in. Be brave enough to be loud, bright, or different. Be exactly who you are meant to be. If you loved Finn's amazing story, please give us a like and share this fable with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe to Storycrafts Kids for more uplifting tales about being your wonderful self.